Sit down, my friend. Yes, you. Come closer. There is something I must tell you, something you have felt your entire life, but never dared to name. Has life broken you before? Has your kindness been mistaken for weakness? Has your sincerity been met with betrayal? Have you given your loyalty to those who repaid you with silence, indifference, or cruelty? You see, people rarely admit this truth, but I will. The world does not break the wicked, it breaks the good. Because the good walk through life without armor. They love without calculation. They trust without suspicion. They give without expecting deceit. And so the world, driven by selfish desire, by blind will, feeds on them first. Tell me, how many times have you wondered why you suffer more precisely because you care? How many times have you looked at others, cold, selfish, manipulative, and seen them rewarded while you are silently punished? Life, you must understand, is not a moral theater. It does not reward your gentleness. It does not value your sincerity. It does not protect your heart. Life simply is, and in its chaos, in its hunger, in its ceaseless struggle, those who feel deeply are the first to bleed. Life is suffering, I once wrote, but I should have added, most suffering comes from people, their expectations, their desires, their appetites, their unconscious cruelty. The world breaks people, not because they are weak, but because they walk into the storm naked, believing others have the same heart they do. Perhaps you know this pain too well. Perhaps you have felt the shattering that comes when you realize someone you trusted never cared at all. Perhaps you have stared at the ceiling late at night, wondering why doing the right thing still led you here alone, exhausted, betrayed. Listen carefully. I am not telling you this to darken your spirit. I am telling you this so you finally understand the nature of the battlefield you were thrown into. Because there is only one kind of man the world cannot break, the man who learns to see reality as it is, not as he wishes it to be, and that journey begins now. Now listen carefully, for what I am about to tell you is the foundation of all human misery and all human power. You believe people choose their actions consciously, don't you? You believe they think, reflect, consider morality, and act with intention. Humans are not guided by reason. They are dragged by something far darker, far more primitive. I called it the will, the blind, insatiable force inside every human that wants, craves, consumes, demands, without ever knowing why. And this, my friend, is where your suffering begins. You feel deeply, you think before you act, you consider how your actions affect others, you try to be moral, sincere, gentle, honest. But others are moved by a different engine entirely. Their kindness is strategy, their affection is convenience, their loyalty is conditional, their morality is temporary. Behind every smile is a desire, behind every promise is a motive, behind every connection is a hunger. You expect humanity, but you encounter the will. This will is selfish. It wants pleasure, advantage, validation, control. It does not care who gets hurt along the way. And do you know who suffers the most in such a world? The man who believes people are better than they truly are. You suffer because you assume empathy where there is only desire. You assume honesty where there is only self-interest. You assume loyalty where there is only need. You look at the world through the soft light of your own heart, while others approach you with the cold instinct of survival. This is why gentle men break first, because you operate from thought while they operate from impulse. You offer understanding while they offer appetite. You seek connection while they seek advantage. Now, I'm not telling you this to turn you cynical. I'm telling you this so you finally see. Because the moment you understand the will, human behavior becomes painfully predictable, and once you see the truth, something shifts inside you. You stop expecting fairness. You stop offering blind trust. You stop giving yourself away so freely. This is where psychological ruthlessness begins, not in cruelty, but in clarity. The clarity to understand that the world is not shaped by your heart, but by human desire, and the man who survives is the man who learns to navigate that desire without drowning in it. Tell me something, why is it always the gentle ones who suffer first? Why do the soft-spoken, the loyal, the sincere, carry wounds that the cruel never seem to feel? Because the world teaches its hardest lessons to those who walk into it unguarded. You, for instance, you feel deeply, therefore you break deeply. You attach genuinely, therefore you lose painfully. You trust honestly, therefore you are betrayed brutally. And the irony, those who hurt you seldom realize what they've done. To them, your kindness was not a gift, it was an opportunity. Your loyalty was not admirable, it was convenient. Your empathy was not understood, it was exploited. Emotional people get drained because they pour. Liars manipulate honest men because the honest assume everyone plays by the same rules. Users target loyal men because loyalty blinds you to red flags. You think people are like you. You think they feel as you feel. You think their hearts move with the same sincerity as yours. But they don't. This is what I call the foolish expectation, the silent hope that the world will match the purity of your inner world. It never does. And that expectation, my friend, is the most painful chain a man can wear. You are not weak. Do not misunderstand me. You are unprotected. Your heart is open in a world where most hearts are locked behind steel doors. Your soul is exposed in a marketplace where everyone bargains, trades, and disguises their motives. And every time you take people at face value, the world hands you another scar. But hear me, this pain you carry, this exhaustion, this disappointment, it is not a flaw in your character. It is evidence that your heart was real in a world built on illusions. Yet if you wish to survive, if you wish to stop being the man life breaks first, you must remove the expectation that people will ever give you what you give them. Only then do you finally stop bleeding for those who were never capable of loving you. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you will feel cold, even merciless, but it is the only thing that will save you. You hear the word ruthless and you think of cruelty. No, ruthlessness in my philosophy is not about harming others. It is about refusing to let others harm you. It is a shield, not a sword. The world is full of people who test you, not with questions, but with small violations. A dismissive tone, a delayed response, a broken promise, a request that asks too much, too soon. You call it innocent, I call it probing. People probe to see, how much will you tolerate? How much can they take from you before you object? And the soft-hearted man, he endures, he excuses, he forgives by instinct, even before being asked. That is why he becomes the first target. This is why ruthlessness is necessary, not to attack, but to protect your inner world. Ruthlessness means emotional boundaries, the ability to say, this is my limit, cross it, and you lose access to me. Ruthlessness means non-attachment, not clinging to people who drain you, not chasing those who walk away, not begging those who show no interest in staying. Ruthlessness means silence and observation. You learn more by watching a man's actions than by believing his words. You discover more about a woman by how she behaves when you give her nothing to react to. Silence is a weapon in a world addicted to noise. But the most powerful form of ruthlessness is choosing yourself, not out of arrogance, but out of survival. You see, people exploit those they do not fear losing. If you make yourself too available, too forgiving, too eager, you become cheap in their eyes. Respect requires distance. Value requires boundaries. Strength requires selective access. A man who cannot say no will always be used by those who can. Remember this, to be ruthless is to guard your peace as if it were treasure, to protect your attention as if it were currency, to treat your time as if it were your last breath. You are not asked to be heartless. You are asked to stop letting your heart be a door held open for thieves. You sit there, exhausted, not because life is cruel, but because you cling to it too tightly. Listen to me. A man suffers most, not from the world itself, but from his refusal to step back and see the world for what it is. This is where my philosophy begins. Detach or suffer. You think suffering comes from people. It doesn't. Suffering comes from expectation, the invisible chain you wrap around your own mind. You expect loyalty from the disloyal, honesty from the deceptive, depth from the shallow, love from those incapable of giving it. And every expectation becomes a blade. This is why I tell you, a wise man must learn the art of stepping away, not out of fear but out of clarity. You see, when a man is tangled in the world, he cannot see it. His emotions cloud his judgment. His desires become his tormentors. His attachments make him vulnerable. Detachment is not indifference, it is freedom. Look at your life. How many wounds came from holding on too long? How many disappointments came from believing words instead of watching actions? How many times did you suffer simply because you refused to walk away? The awakened man, the man who finally understands the nature of people, becomes calm, even cold, not because he lacks emotion, but because he no longer allows emotion to control him. Solitude becomes his teacher, distance becomes his protection, silence becomes his power. You think being alone is a curse. No, being surrounded by people who drain you, that is the true curse. When you detach, you see everything clearly: who respects you, who uses you, who loves you, who pretends, who deserves access, who needs to be cut out without hesitation. The man who detaches is no longer pulled by every desire, every voice, every opinion, every seductive illusion. He becomes self-contained, a world within himself. And here lies the paradox. The moment you stop needing people, they start respecting you. The moment you stop chasing, you start attracting. The moment you detach, you become powerful. Because the world can only break the man who is still holding on. Let go not out of bitterness, but because you finally understand, a man must detach from the world to survive it. You want to stop suffering? Then stop giving the world the version of you it can easily break. Listen closely, because this is where transformation begins. You do not need to be heartless. You need to be selective. You do not need to be cruel. You need to be controlled. This, my friend, is psychological ruthlessness. Number 1. Control your reactions. Weak men react, strong men respond. And the ruthless man, he often says nothing at all. When you react emotionally, you hand people the blueprint to manipulate you. Anger reveals your buttons. Sadness reveals your wounds. Excitement reveals your weaknesses. But silence reveals nothing. Master your face. Master your breath. Master your tone. A man who controls his reactions controls the room. Number 2. Say less. Observe more. You think you know people. No, you only know what they show you. The wise man watches how they speak to those who can't benefit them, how they behave when denied attention, how they shift when they want something. Let them reveal themselves. Most people eventually do, if you stay quiet long enough. Number 3. Stop explaining yourself. Only the insecure justify themselves. Only the desperate over-explain. You owe no one your story, your reasoning, or your defenses. Set a boundary, state your decision, then let the silence carry your confidence. Nothing unsettles manipulators more than a man who refuses to justify himself. Number 4. Don't chase. Don't beg. If you chase, they run. If you beg, they step on you. Let people leave. Let opportunities fade. Let situations collapse. What is meant for your life will not require you to humiliate yourself to keep it. Chasing is the language of emotional poverty. Stillness is the language of inner strength. Number 5. Master silence. There is no tool more feared by manipulators than a man who knows when to say nothing. Silence exposes lies. Silence creates discomfort. Silence forces others to confront themselves. Use it. Guard your words like a miser guards gold. Number 6. Value your time. Your time is your life, and yet you give it away to people who drain you. Cut them off immediately, without ceremony. A parasite never stops feeding itself. You must be the one to close the door. Number 7. Move from pleaser to chooser. Stop asking, do they like me? Start asking, do I even want them in my world? This shift alone transforms a man. When you choose rather than seek to be chosen, your energy becomes sovereign. You stop bending. You stop shrinking. You stop tolerating the intolerable. This is ruthlessness. Not cruelty, but self-respect, sharpened to a blade. Number 8. Build a life that does not depend on anyone. When you no longer need people emotionally, financially, or psychologically, you become unbreakable. A man who can stand alone, stands above. Create such a life because the world cannot break a man who no longer hands it pieces of himself to destroy. Becoming the person the world can't break. You have walked through enough darkness by now. You have tasted betrayal, carried loneliness like a stone in your chest, and watched your sincerity be used as a tool against you. But listen to me, that suffering was not the end of you, it was the beginning. There comes a moment in a man's life when he looks at the ruins around him and realizes he has only 2 options: remain broken or rebuild himself into something the world can no longer shatter. You are standing in that moment right now, from emotional naivete to cold clarity. You once believed people meant what they said. You once believed kindness would return to you as kindness. You once believed loyalty guaranteed loyalty. Naivete is not stupidity, it is trust given too freely. But now you see the world with new eyes, cold eyes, clear eyes. You watch words but measure behavior. You listen but you do not absorb. You care but you no longer crumble. This clarity, this coolness is not cruelty. It is maturity sharpened by suffering. From cold clarity to inner strength. The moment a man stops depending on others for validation, affection, or meaning, he becomes powerful. When you stop chasing, you stop fearing. When you stop explaining, you stop apologizing for existing. When you stop needing people, you stop being controlled by them. This is the birth of inner strength. Not loud, not dramatic, but still, silent, unmoved. The kind of strength that terrifies manipulators because they cannot penetrate it. The kind of strength that confuses the world because it cannot bend it. The kind of strength that men spend their whole lives trying to fake but only suffering can create. You see, pain, when understood, becomes armor. You're not becoming heartless, you're becoming unbreakable. Let me tell you something you need to hear. You have not lost your heart, you have reclaimed it. You are not becoming cold, you are becoming calm. You are not becoming ruthless, you are becoming beyond manipulation. You are slowly and quietly stepping into the version of yourself that the world can no longer play with. The wise man steps away from the crowd. I once wrote, the more intelligent a man is, the more he prefers solitude. Why? Because the crowd drains him, the world distracts him, and people often wound him. A wise man does not hate the world, he simply refuses to let it shape him. And that, my friend, is exactly what you are becoming. A man the world can no longer break. A man who walks alone, not in weakness, but in power. A man defined not by suffering, but by the strength he forged from it. So, here we are, at the edge of everything you've endured, at the doorstep of the man you are becoming. Listen carefully now. The world has never rewarded goodness. It has never protected the gentle, the sincere, the soft-spoken. Life is indifferent, brutally so, and people, driven by their appetites, take from the unguarded what they cannot earn themselves. But something remarkable happens the moment you stop offering yourself as an open door. The moment you choose yourself, the world stops choosing you as its victim. You see, a man who understands human nature, its selfishness, its illusions, its hidden motives, becomes untouchable, not because he is cruel, but because he is no longer naive. A man who is ruthless in the Schopenhauerian sense, calm, clear, and emotionally detached, is the one the world respects. People walk carefully around a man who no longer needs their approval, who no longer begs for affection, who no longer collapses at the slightest rejection. Life bends to the man who refuses to bend for it. This is the paradox. The less you cling, the more control you gain. The less you expect, the more peaceful you become. The less you reveal, the harder it is for the world to wound you. Remember this. The world has no mercy for the soft, but immense respect for the self-contained. You were not born to be broken, you were born to awaken. In the end, happiness belongs to the man who stands apart, who sees clearly, feels deeply, but bows to no one. As I once said, the wise man builds his fortress within himself. And now, my friend, so will you.